We're here with Alexa Steinbrück from the organization, the Artists Collective, called the Moving Target Collective. And Alexa is one of the members of that, and she's going to be showing a piece called Latent Riot at this year's MozFest. And so, Alexa, maybe you can tell us a little bit about your project.
Yeah, sure. So Latent Riot is a web-based project right now. And it started when we discovered a data set of 6,000 scanned protest images from the Women's March in Boston in 2017, which were digitalized by a university in Boston. And the project was called, this digital art archive was called Art of the March. And we discovered this website, and we immediately, and you see this whole range of beautiful, like very individualistic handmade drawings with very witty slogans. And it's just amazing, an amazing collection. And my colleagues and I immediately thought, what would that look like if we take this huge data set of images and trained a style GAN with it, which is a generative artificial neural network? How would the results look like? Were they able to capture maybe the visual language of protest, or what would it look like? And then we trained this neural network, and the results were pretty funny, because you could see that they captured this aesthetics, but what it didn't capture, of course, was the text. So all the text was transformed into these blobs and weird shapes and graphical elements. And we thought, that's amazing. Like that's a pretty interesting commentary to the debate about what AI can accomplish, and how if AI can have its own agenda and understand what it's doing. So, and we thought that's like perfect. You see like images created of protest images of an artificial intelligence system that mean nothing and have no intention at all. Yeah.
That's no, the humor in it was what was really surprising. Oftentimes, a lot of the debate around AI is extremely dystopian, and I was really encouraged to see that you're approaching it with a different perspective.
Yeah, that was also our goal, to make like an ironic statement, and we hope that people see the irony in it. And yeah, so if you put it into this context of the debate, there are like people or organizations that vouch for like robot rights, which is a like the idea to give AI systems basically to see them as legal entities and give them something like human rights, which is bizarre. Because these systems have no, like the level of intelligence that AI systems today have are so far away from human intelligence. And this is what's captured as AGI, artificial general intelligence, which is still like a goal which is very far away, and it exists basically only in science fiction. But since like a lot of the debate mixes science fiction and AI realities, for some people this robot rights thing seems to be like a real issue. Yeah.
You're a professor or a lecturer in artificial intelligence, right? Or is that,
not
is that
really. Yeah, no, not really. I'm working at the University of Arts and Design in Halle in Germany, where we have the X Lab, a lab for AI and robotics. And I'm not a professor.
Okay.
I'm not even a lecturer. But what I try to do is to give actually lectures and workshops to our students to show them the vast opportunity that AI techniques have for creative practices. Yeah.
When you're working with artists, what are you seeing that they're doing with the tools so far?
So maybe to start with, there is the last years there has been a big trend of working with GANs. So basically what we are also doing in this Latent Riot work, and what I hope is that we're not tapping into the like this GANism, which is an invented word, which means basically everybody's working with GANs, and they're just, you know, they feed a neural network with some stuff they found somewhere, and then they put the label on it and call it art, or they put the label on it, call it it's made by an AI. And I find this, I mean, there is a lack of some maybe some deeper thinking of what are you actually doing with it. And also the GAN is just one tool in the whole like universe of machine learning tools. And like it's very tempting to use it because it's generative, and what it promises you is to create, that it creates like images, invented artificial images that look like they came out of the data set. So it has some kind of magic to it, but I think there's so many other cool machine learning techniques, and yeah, and also the generative part is also just one aspect. So what I see in ways to use AI artistically is basically, so you have the generative part, which is interesting, and I think it will be explored more in the next years. But then you also have the opportunity to do interaction work with it, to make sense of sensor data and real-time gestures. So this is a big, I think, area where it's useful. And the third is making sense of big data collection and finding pattern in it, and maybe similarities, and which are too for data sets which are too big for the human brain to capture. And I would like to see more work in this third part. For example, there is an interesting work of a Dutch collective called Aesthetics of Exclusion, and they're interested in the aesthetics of gentrification. And what they do is they show people images of streetscapes and the fronts of shops and stuff. And they ask them, does this look gentrified to you? And it's an online tool, and they're basically crowdsourcing the labeling task. And so what they build up is this classifier of what looks gentrified and what doesn't. So later they can use this classifier to label, for example, new images from Google Street View with it. And I think this is a really interesting way of using AI techniques in a critical artworks. Yeah.
Excellent. You're going to be, in addition to showing the artwork at MozFest, the Latent Riot project, you're also going to be having a workshop as well, right? A discussion where we can actually ask more questions and things, right?
Yeah, it's for this. Yeah, it will be part input session and then part discussion, because we're trying to open up the questions that we're tackling in this project. So one very pressing question is, how do we talk about AI? Is it okay to say an AI invented this, or the AI of Google? So is it okay to use language that basically gives this kind of agency to these AI systems? And how we can avoid that, maybe, or tweak our language so it's more accurate to the actual technical reality of AI. Yeah. And yeah, other maybe then even philosophical questions, like maybe in the future, if we might have AGI, would it be okay to call AI entities, to give them a legal status? So there's a lot to explore, and we're also interested in, of course, what other people think, and to make this a discussion. Yeah.
Wonderful. Alexa Steinbrück of the Moving Target Collective, thank you so much for your time. Really
Thank
looking
you.
forward to seeing your work at MozFest and to talking with you further.
Cool. Thank you.